Welcome everyone to my channel Techify with Adil. Hope you are doing good. So from here we will be starting to discuss about Azure, especially the certifications for Azure Fundamental 8AZ900. So this, who requests this certification, who should be doing this exam? The answer for this is anyone who is interested to start their career as a cloud technician or cloud computing admin, and who wants to move into cloud, they all can do this certification. Why in specific Azure Fundamentals? Because the Azure Fundamentals will cover all the topics of Azure with the basic level as a fundamental level. So you will have an idea of every other certification in Azure, the basic structure, how the Azure works, and how the cloud computing has been designed. So all these things you will be able to learn from this certification. So this certification covers the architectural components like computing, networking, and storage. So the types of storage, because the cloud contains different storage types, so we will be learning about each storage types, and the networking, how to create subnets, how the network works, and all these things, and computing starting from virtual machines, how the things are created, how it's linked. All these things can be learned. Then when it goes to skills or working experience related knowledge, we will be learning about infrastructure management, database management, and software management. Also it will start from the basic, like what is cloud computing. That is the very first topic we'll be discussing here, what is cloud computing. Then it goes to types of clouds and Azure clouds, then their models, then how the scalability, how it gives you the availability, what is the purpose or what is the main reason of now enterprises moving towards cloud from their on-premise thing, and also a lot of companies from their hybrid they move fully cloud based. So we'll be seeing all these things in our video. Okay, so Azure fundamentals. Okay, so the first topic we'll be discussing is the describe cloud computing. So here the details we'll be discussing, the topics we'll be discussing is introduction to Microsoft Azure fundamentals. We'll have introduction about that, then introduction to cloud computing, then what is cloud computing, describe the shared responsibility model. So we will see what is shared responsibility model, what are the types. So then cloud models, then we will see the consumption based model. So in the exam point of view, like preparing for the exam AZ900, the important thing you have to take note is the weightage on the topics. So like basic cloud portions, like basic cloud concepts, it will cover like 25 to 30% of your questions. Then your architecture and services will cover 35 to 40. Then your Azure management and governance, so identity and security portions all covered under this, will be 30 to 35. So it is almost like equally weighted, all the three portions. So you will have to concentrate on all the three portions. So here we will see a small video about cloud computing. So this is actually from the Microsoft Azure learning portal.
What is cloud computing? Just like when you shop for your own computer, cloud computing lets you choose the power and features you need to run your software. The difference is, with cloud computing, the PC is in a cloud provider's data center instead of physically with you. This lets you pay for only the services you use. Plus, someone else gets to manage the upkeep of the computer. Each cloud provider will have their own selection of services to choose from, but the basic services provided by all cloud providers are compute power and storage. Compute power is how much processing your computer can do. For example, when buying a home computer, you may choose a computer with 8 gigabytes of RAM and the latest processor to run the software you need today. But as the load on the computer grows, you find that it slows down. With cloud computing, you can add and remove compute power as you need it. This saves on costs, since you only pay for the resources you use. Storage is the volume of data you can store on your computer. A traditional computer has limited hard drive space. Over time, you may have to run out and buy another hard drive to store more data. With cloud computing, you can request more storage as you need it. Cloud providers manage the upkeep of the computer, so you don't have to. They will make sure that there are backups, that the operating system is up to date, as well as making sure that everything is up and running 24 hours a day. So as your business grows and your computing needs change, you can quickly bring on new computing resources in a cost-effective way.
Next, we will see the different type of structure in our IT. So it's like SaaS, PaaS, and infrastructure as a service. Then it's on-premise. The on-premise is one well known, that's been in use for a longer period. So you can see here. Okay, so here you can see the on-premise is all actually the dark color, dark blue represents is all managed by the customer. So if like I'm having a database, or I'm having some email server or some file server hosted, so all the responsibility is on the enterprise side, like from physical data, the network, the data center, the operating system, network, applications, identity, account, and the devices whatever been connected to, and the information need, everything is falls under the responsibility of the company, the enterprise, or the IT team. Then we have this infrastructure as a service. So for the infrastructure as a service, they provide the infrastructure. So the infrastructure, so the all the other things what comes over the infrastructure is all on the enterprise side. Say here the physical data center, the network, the host. So all these three will be covered by the cloud provider. The anything falls over that will be managed by the enterprise. Then we have this platform as a service. So here you can see data center, network, host, and operating system is completely handled by the cloud provider, that's Microsoft here. Then the network controls, applications, and identity and directory infrastructure, this will be in a shared basis. So it's a combined responsibility of the customer and also the Microsoft. Then information, devices, and account identity is on customer. Then the last one is software as a service. So till application level, so is all controlled by, or is all managed by Microsoft. Then identity and directory infrastructure is shared responsibility, and anything falls over that, like identity, accounts, devices, and information and data. So all these things will be on customer side. So in moving forward, we will see in detail about all the structures as well. So for at this point, you just have a basic idea, like software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service, all the three different types of services provided by Microsoft. And this the basic differences are the who takes the responsibility, or whose responsibility is for either the customer's portions and the Microsoft portion. Okay, the shared responsibility model. When you're talking about the shared responsibility model, so as we seen in the previous slide, the SaaS, PaaS, and also infrastructure service, we see some shared responsibility. It's not fully on one side, like it's not on fully on customer, also not fully on the Microsoft, unlike the on-premises. So here we see, when using a cloud provider, any cloud provider actually, the information and data stored in the cloud we are responsible for. Then devices that are allowed to connect to your cloud, like mobile phones, like bring your own device, whatever it is, or company owned devices, or users devices, computers, whatever devices we are using to cloud to the connect to the cloud. The device which we are using to connect to the cloud, that's an important thing to take note of. Not the devices that are hosted in the cloud, only for the devices that we are using to connect to the cloud. Then the accounts and identity of the people, services, and devices within your organization. So all these three things is always the responsibility of the customer. Then cloud providers is always responsible for physical data center, network, and host. The service model will determine the responsibility for other things like operating system, network control, application identity, and infrastructure. So these four things will be decided based on which service you take. Are you taking software as a service, or platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service? Based on that, the responsibility will change. Then this is a cloud models. So this is a basic cloud models: public, private, and hybrid. So when we see public cloud, so no first thing is no capital expenditures to scale up. So because it's totally on the it's a public hosted cloud, then applications can be quickly provisioned and deprovisioned. Then organizations pay only for what they use. This is a very important thing: pay only for what they use. Then organizations don't have to have complete control over resources and security, because this is handled by the cloud provider. Okay, then this is private cloud. Organizations have complete control over resources and security. Data is not collocated with other organization data. Hardware must be purchased for startup and maintenance. Organizations are responsible for hardware maintenance and updates. So this is a private cloud. So what is the basic difference, or what is the important difference, how we can understand the public and private cloud is: for the public cloud, everything is managed by the service provider, meaning we will not have any idea like which resources has been provided for which customer. Maybe another customer might be using the same hardware of what we are using. There may be partition secured, but still we may be sharing the same resources. That part will be totally blind for us. We will not have any idea about that, because the hardware is not managed by us. So it's just we pay for the service what we are using, and we use the service. That's the public one. Private is uniquely for our organization. So we have a cloud setup, but that hardware, everything is fully and was only utilized by our organization or our company. So it's not shared to the public, it's not shared with other enterprises. So that's the private cloud. So other techniques and other backend structures is all same, just the how we are going to, it's public and the other one is private. Then comes this hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud, as the name says, is going to be the combination of both. So provides more flexibility, because when you go for cloud, there will be some kind of restrictions when you're moving some applications, or we're moving something. We will have some restrictions, which actually you will understand when moving forward. You go in very depth on this Azure. So in those cases, we will have to use the private, or we have to use the on-premise thing. So when you have a hybrid cloud structure, so those whatever need to be hosted in the on-premise can be hosted in the on-premise, and whatever to be moved to the public cloud can be moved to the public cloud. Then you can have a hybrid, which is more flexible for us. Then organizations determine where to run their applications. So they are the one who's deciding, so to run in the on-premise or to run in the cloud. Then organizations control security, compliance, and legal requirements, since we have more control over the structure. Beyond the public, private, and the hybrid, here we have some more topics to understand. So this is multi-cloud. In a multi-cloud scenario, you use multiple public cloud providers. So in the earlier slide, when we are saying about public cloud, we are talking about one cloud provider, single cloud provider, like maybe Azure, or it's AWS, or it's Alibaba, or Google, like that. So when it's multi-cloud, we have multiple clouds. Maybe there's multiple scenarios. Maybe a company started with a cloud provider, then they need to for new applications, or in future they are just moving to another cloud provider, or they have their resources in two different cloud providers, they need to combinedly use it. So those kind of infra is called as multi-cloud infrastructure. Then Azure Arc is actually a set of technologies that helps manage your cloud environment. So the technology whatever is being used to manage our cloud environment, those comes under this Azure Arc is a technology actually to help manage your cloud environment, whether it's a public cloud or solely on Azure or private cloud in your data center, hybrid configuration, or even multi-cloud environment running on multiple cloud providers. In all these scenarios, Azure Arc can be used to manage. Then we have this Azure VMware solution. So generally we know there may be scenarios where your VMware, we have already data in our VMware, the setup. So when you are moving this VMware things to your Azure, there comes this Azure VMware solution. So when we have already established VMware structure in our company, the Azure VMware solution lets you to run your VMware workloads in Azure with seamless integration and scalability. With the same integration and scalability, we can run it in the Azure. Okay, next we see this difference between CapEx and Opex. Actually it's a capital expenditure and operational expenditure. So what is this capital expenditure and operational expenditure? These are the two kind of expenditures we need to take note when you are going for cloud or migrating to the cloud. So capital expenditure typically is a one-time upfront expenditure, like to purchase or to secure resources, like it can be hardware resources or software resources or can be services, whatever it is we going to, it's like an investment. Then operation resources, spending money on services or on products over the time, like based on whatever we are being utilizing, we're going to pay it month-wise or yearly, right? So that's called your operational expenditure, the expense you spend on your operations. So here example is like new building, like parking lot, data center, then buying company vehicles or whatever investment you're going to do, that comes under your capital expenditure. Then your operation is like run operations like rentals, like leasing or services signed up for cloud. So all these things comes under your operational expenditure. Cloud computing falls under operational expenditure because cloud computing operates on a consumption based model. So if you're not consuming the resource, then you no need to pay for that. If you're consuming a resource, then you will have to pay for that. So that's why it comes under your cloud computing falls under operation expenditure, Opex. With the cloud computing, you don't pay for physical infrastructure, electricity, security, or anything else associated with maintaining the data center. Instead, for the IT resources you use, that's all we pay. If you don't use any resource this month, you no need to pay for any IT resources. So then comes consumption based model. So this consumption based model has many benefits. So no upfront cost, no need to purchase and manage costly infrastructure that users might not use to its fullest potential, the ability to pay for more resources when they are needed, the ability to stop paying for resources that are no longer needed. So these are the benefits or advantages of using consumption based model. So cloud computing is the delivery of cloud computing services over internet by using a pay as you go servicing model. So plan and manage your operating costs, run an infrastructure more efficiently, scale as your business needs change. So you pay only as per your usage. So that's the consumption based model. So you don't need to upfront buy. You don't need to maybe we might once in a year, like New Year, say example, we have a e-commerce company. So in the e-commerce company, there might be hike in resources usages, like a hike in the sales. So there will be more resource usages particular months, maybe December, January, then mid or during some festivals only. So in normal cases, what we have to do is we have to purchase those required infrastructure. We have to invest and keep it unused for all the remaining months of the year. When it goes for your consumption based model in the cloud, what happens is we can only increase your resources for that particular month when your resources is much needed. There will be when there is a high sales, then you can increase your resources. Whenever there is no high sales, then you can reduce your resources, then you need to pay for those unused resources. That's the advantage of this consumption based model. You should be able to see all the videos I will be posting, which covers from basic to all the topics of Azure fundamentals. So once you are able to go through all the videos, you will have a basic idea what are this exam covers and what to be prepared. So by doing that, you should be able to clear your Azure fundamentals exams. Hope the video was very helpful. Please share and subscribe to my channel Techify with Adil. And also please share the link with your friends so that they are also getting benefited. So actually with the I'll be also posting other videos you can continuously watch to learn more about the other certification. So once we have completed the entire package, you can prepare for your certification of AZ 900 Microsoft Azure Fundamentals exam.